You know that Napoleon Bonaparte was a tiny, angry little man who compensated for his height by conquering half of Europe. Well, that's a lie. Napoleon was around 5 feet 6 inches tall, average for a Frenchman of his time, maybe even slightly above average. Two things happened. The French used a different measurement system. His death record said 5 feet 2 inches in French inches, which are longer than British ones. When the British read it, they just assumed it was the same. It wasn't. And one British cartoonist named James Gillray invented the short Napoleon as propaganda. A furious, boot-stomping toddler of a general. The cartoons spread everywhere. Napoleon himself said Gillray did more than all the armies of Europe to bring me down. 200 years of mockery, based on a unit conversion error and one cartoonist's grudge. People believe that when French peasants were starving, Queen Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." That's a lie. She never said it. The phrase appeared in a book by Rousseau, written in 1765, when Marie Antoinette was 9 years old and still living in Austria. Nobody connected it to her during the Revolution, not when she was put on trial, not when she was guillotined. The first time anyone linked the quote to her was 1843, 50 years after her death. A woman who donated to charities and wrote about concern for the poor, executed as the face of royal indifference, based on a quote she never said, written about someone else. That's not just a lie. That's a lie that cost someone their head. People believe that in the Middle Ages, everyone thought the earth was flat, and Columbus had to fight the church to prove it was round. That's a lie. And it was literally invented in 1828. Scholars knew the earth was spherical since the 6th century BC. Eratosthenes calculated its circumference around 240 BC with roughly 2% accuracy. The opposition Columbus actually faced wasn't about the shape of the earth. It was about the size. His critics correctly said he was underestimating how big the earth was. Columbus was just lucky there was a continent sitting in the way. A writer named Washington Irving invented the flat earth scene in a fictional biography of Columbus. It was fiction. It got taught as fact in schools for over a century. People believe Vikings wore those iconic helmets with giant horns. That's a lie. Only one complete Viking-era helmet has ever been found, discovered in 1943 on a farm in Norway. No horns. Which makes sense. A horn sticking out of your helmet in a sword fight is basically a handle for your enemy to grab and snap your neck. So where did this come from? An opera. In 1876, composer Richard Wagner staged his Ring Cycle. The costume designer put horns on the helmets because it looked dramatic on stage. Within 25 years, every illustrator in Europe was copying it. Less dramatic, equally terrifying. People believe George Washington had wooden dentures. That's a lie. His dentures were made from human teeth, cow teeth, hippopotamus ivory, and metal alloys. The human teeth were purchased from enslaved people at his own plantation. That last part tends to get left out. The myth started because ivory dentures turn brown over time. From a distance, they looked like wood. Someone made an assumption. The assumption became folklore. What gets replaced? A disturbing true story involving slavery. What it gets replaced with? A charmingly eccentric president with wooden teeth. People believe the great statues of ancient Greece and Rome were always pure white marble. That's a lie. The Greeks and Romans painted their statues in vivid color. Red lips, detailed eyes, painted clothing, skin tones. The paint deteriorated over 2,000 years of weather. The stone remained. Modern archaeologists using ultraviolet light have identified traces of original pigment on hundreds of statues. The colors were almost garish by today's standards. The figures looked more like people. The Greeks weren't minimalists. They were maximalists who just ran out of paint. The Great Wall of China is visible from space. People believe the Great Wall of China is visible from space with the naked eye. That's a lie. Chinese astronaut Yang Liwei, the first person China sent to orbit, looked specifically for the wall. He couldn't see it. The wall is long, but only 15 to 30 feet wide. From orbit, that's like trying to spot a human hair from 2 miles away. The claim dates to a 1932 magazine article that said it would be visible from the moon, which is even more dramatically wrong.